Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tech Gamers World. In this video, we're going to be unboxing, setting up, and reviewing the USB 3.0 capture card from ByteWave. Are these budget-friendly capture cards any good? Well, stay tuned. Let's find out. Okay, everyone, welcome back. So as I said in the introduction to this video, here is the ByteWave HD USB 3.0 video capture card. A huge thank you to ByteWave for sending this to me. All opinions expressed in this video are my own. So with that said, if everybody can do me a favor before we start here, click that like button, subscribe, and or follow me here at Tech Gamers World. That would be totally awesome. I am always having new and exciting content from the world of video games and technology dropping all the time, and I would love for you to be part of my adventures. So like I said, this is the ByteWave HD USB 3.0 video capture card. We're going to be setting this up and testing it with my Nintendo Switch 2 on my Microsoft Surface. So the box here is your standard minimalistic box, which I absolutely love. It features a little black and white 3D representation of the device here, showing the HDMI in, the HDMI out. And what's really cool, and I noticed this when I got it from them, is USB-C to USB-A adapter, which is awesome because when you're using this on the go, you don't want to be fumbling around for adapters when you figured out that your laptop, you forgot, only has USB-C. So that's really cool. And those little things are what make some stuff absolutely great. Flipping it over here, the back shows a visual representation of the device, showing what kind of things you can connect to the video capture card, such as video game consoles, cameras, PCs, phones, tablets, and what you can connect the video capture card to for output purposes, so TVs, monitors, projectors, microphones, headphones. Pretty cool. This device, like it says here, shows you that you can bring in microphones and headphones, which is amazing because when you're doing this through a laptop, you may not have the ports needed to connect a microphone or headphones when you're using the USB-C port, for example. So if you can connect these in line, that makes that amazing for recording content. Important notices here, basically some information about the differences between USB 2.0 and USB 3.0. We won't go into the technical aspects of that, but basically USB 2.0 old, USB 3.0 new and faster technology, and delineated by the blue, which I'll show you when we get the device out. Now this also has some information here about the microphone connections. It says the audio input supports only microphones that have a 3-pole plug. Please use a TRRS to TRS adapter if your microphone has a 4-pole plug. So without going into the crazy technical details, basically, if your microphone plug looks like this, it won't work. If it looks like this, it'll work. And if it looks like this, you need an adapter. So you want to make sure that you have the 3-pole plug. It's basically ways to send different left-right channels and stuff like that for the recordings. So pretty cool, pretty cool. Let's go ahead here and open this up. So let's pull out the device here. There it is. The HD USB 3.0 video capture card from ByteWave. Awesome. Let's put that down here for a second. Let's see what else is in here. Always love looking for the goodies. So there it looks like I bent it a little here, the user guide / instruction manual. And what else do we have here? That looks like it. This looks like a card showing you how to connect up your devices. So that's pretty cool. Showing you what the various inputs available and the various outputs that you can use. Pretty cool there. So we'll go ahead and put that off to the side. And then looking at the user guide here, your standard user guide showing product introduction, specifications, noteworthiness, USB 3.0 Type A with the USB Type C adapter, video in and out interface, HDMI 1.4, The max pass-through resolution is 4K 30 Hz. Max capture resolution is 1080p 60 Hz. Capture video format MJPEG, UYU2. So audio imports 3-pole, 3.5mm jack. Audio outputs 3-pole, 4-pole, 3.5mm jack. The audio formats supported, the dimensions, the weight, the compatible systems, Windows 8, 10, and 11. At this point, you should not be using Windows 8 or Windows 10. You wouldn't be on Windows 11. Mac OS, Linux, Android. Compatible recording software, OBS Studio, XSplit, Pot Player, QuickTime Player, and more. So this here shows some more information, obviously some graphics, and then how to set up the device with what looks to be OBS Studio. And I will agree with this. OBS Studio is the way to go. It's far superior to all other video recording software in all shapes and forms. And it's free. So that's awesome. Flipping it to the back here, we see more information about setting up the monitor output video capture device, stuff like that. Important notices here, more information about the plug, the frequently asked questions about recording, and why is the captured video with no sound, stuff like that. And do I install drivers? No, you don't need drivers because it's USB. And then frequently asked questions and lifetime support. So that's pretty cool. Let's go ahead here and put this off to the side here. And now we will go ahead and get this device connected up to my PC to capture and record video. Now, we are going to be using a Nintendo Switch 2. Now, what you see here is the Nintendo Switch 2, but what's notably missing is the dock. I have a third-party branded cable that allows me to replace the Nintendo Switch 2 dock with just this cable. So that's what I'm going to use for this. It is great when I am on the go. So let's go ahead here and check this out as we get it set up. So the device here is very lightweight, much lighter than I thought it would be. All metal coating, which is awesome. HDMI in, HDMI out. And then obviously microphone and the headphone ports in the back here. Pretty cool. Very simplistic. Braided cable, which is awesome. And now this is really cool. I like this a lot. And this is what makes this budget-friendly video capture device totally awesome, is the USB-C to USB-A adapter. So USB-A is this style. It is called Type A. It's the little horizontal rectangle. This is blue because, again, it is USB 3.0. And then you have USB-C. Now, typically, most newer laptops, Microsoft Surface devices, tablets only have a USB-C port, which is why they typically give you this. Desktops, stuff like that, you will still see the USB Type A, but they are slowly being phased out. So with that said, let's go ahead and get this connected up. So very simple to do. Take the Type A USB-A cable, USB-C cable, connect it to my Microsoft Surface. Now you can see it's connected because the light comes on. Basically that means it's sending power through the cable and the device should be detected and online. Now, we will test this, like I said, with the Nintendo Switch 2 here using OBS Studio. So let's go ahead here and open OBS Studio. Now, we need to add a source here. So we're gonna go ahead here and add the source. Now to do this, I sometimes have to cover my camera here because it will see me and try and lock the screen. So let's go ahead here and just hang this over it for a moment. And we can go down here, hit add source. We're gonna do video capture device. We'll name it ByteWave test. And now, which is why you'll see why I have this covered, because it would have tried to see me. So we'll go ahead and here and switch it to Wyarki USB 3.0. The Wyarki is the company that obviously made the device, but it's branded as ByteWave. And then various options available, device defaults. Resolution in that won't be detected yet because it's not connected. So let's go ahead and hit OK. So now we've got it ready to accept our input. So what we're going to do here is loop this around. Try and keep this as clean as possible here. So we're going to go ahead here and connect up my Nintendo Switch 2 to the device. Now, pretty simple to do here. You're just going to take the HDMI cable that comes out of the dock and plug it in to the HDMI in on your device. Now, in my case, I'm going to use this cable here. Now, this is from Cable Time, and it is essentially a portable dock. It's a powered HDMI cable, basically, which can replace the Nintendo Switch 2 dock. So we're going to go ahead and plug this into HDMI in. Now, what's special about this cable is it features power delivery. So what it does is you plug in a USB-C cable. Here I'm using the OEM Nintendo Switch 2 charger. You plug it in right there. And what it does is it provides power to the cable, which then sends it back through to the Nintendo Switch 2 for charging and can upscale the video quality, which is needed with the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, let's go ahead here and turn on the Nintendo Switch 2. So we have Mario Kart World open here. Going to take the USB-C cable, as simple as this, plug it in, and if I'm right, it should show up. There it is. Now you see that the Switch 2 screen went out because it is on the Microsoft Surface here. So we can see that it is recording audio here. And let's go ahead here and check on the properties here for the ByteWave test. So we can see here, now I can set custom stuff. I can adjust the resolution. It's obviously going to flicker out when I'm doing that. We'll leave it as device default. There. And now it's back. So you can adjust your resolution to lower the frames per second. I always recommend just leaving the frames per second at the max that you can here. So we are essentially ready to now test out this. And again, like I said, if you wanted to, you can pass the signal through to your other devices just by connecting up another HDMI cable here and plugging it into your TV. I figure I don't need to do that. Everybody knows what that basically looks like. So we're gonna get out my Nintendo Switch 2 controller here. Got it. And as you can see, it's loading up here. Now here's where you would start your recordings, your live streamings, all that good stuff. I can hear the sound playing through my headphones. Unfortunately, you can't because you wouldn't be able to hear me and it at the same time, but it's working perfectly. So we'll do a single player here. We'll do a Grand Prix. We'll do Cataquack, one of my favorite characters, and we'll do the Dolphin Dasher. So we'll go ahead here and do a 50cc Mushroom Cup race, which is, a nice relaxing race here. So what I'm checking for is lag, sound stuttering, any of that, which I don't hear any of. Let me see here if I can make the sound output. You may or may not be able to hear this. Let's do monitor and output, mic and aux, monitor and output. There it is. So you should be able to hear it just a little bit there. So we can hear the sound coming out. I'll go ahead and here and just set the sound back off so that we can continue hearing our conversations. So monitor only, mute output, monitor only, mute output. So OBS Studio is absolutely great for recording this kind of content there. So so far it is working as I'd expect. There we go, I switched it back. So I am checking for lag, which I feel none. I don't see any, everything's smooth. Now what this does is it does downscale it a little bit. So it will be 1080p recording in 60 frames per second, which is perfectly acceptable. Now, if you are someone who's starting out and looking to get into live streaming, this device is absolutely perfect. The average eye cannot tell the difference between 1080p 60 frames per second and 4K 60 frames per second when they're watching things like YouTube videos, TikTok live streams, Twitch live streams, any of those kind of things. So for a budget-friendly video capture card, this thing is awesome. So let's go ahead and pause that there. So I would like to get into final thoughts here. This thing is really cool. Let's go ahead and disconnect here. We'll disconnect so I can bring it back around. I absolutely love this HD USB 3.0 video capture card here from ByteWave. It is totally awesome, and a huge thank you to them for sending this to me. It is great. It does exactly what it says it does. Plug and play. You just plug in your HDMI cables and you are good to do your streaming. I will go ahead here and put a link in the description of this video and the comment section of this video if you're interested in checking this out. The same thing for the Nintendo Switch 2 cable that you saw me using there. And if anybody, as always, has any questions, please drop that comment down below and I will do my best to help you out. So again, thank you to ByteWave for sending this to me. Totally awesome and super, super appreciated. So I hope everybody enjoyed this video. So thank you very much. Please click that follow button and subscribe, follow me, like me on whatever platform you like and you see this on. Totally would appreciate it. Thanks a lot, everybody, and I will see you around. Keep on gaming.